colonization of North America continent has a turbulent and contradictory history. For more than 3 centuries the seekers for new lands, better life and adventures had explored the continent, brought dramatic changes into lives of indigenous Indian people. French and English colonists were among those Europeans who influenced the continent the most. While both colonization waves were aimed at the seizure of resources and involved annihilation of local people, French and English ways of colonization had some differences. The French colonization of modern Canadian territories started yet in the 16th century. The first French colony of Quebec was established in 1608. The French rapidly developed political and economic relations with the Indians, making alliances with the locals who lived in the area around Lakes Huron and Erie. The main driving force of the French colonization initially was not the seizure of land but a pursuit of valuable fur. The French established control over the fur and fish trade with local tribes. Precious furs were exchanged for cheap trifles and alcohol. The French Jesuits who came to Canada first in 1611 tried to turn Indians to Catholicism and preached obedience to the colonists. The French were also tricky political dealers as they worked out many schemes of how to make clashes between local tribes. When at the end of 17th century the Iroquois Indians started to expand and assimilate Western Indians around Lakes Erie and Huron, the French interrupted. They supplied the Algonquian tribe with firearms and alcohol and helped them to fight the Iroquois assault. The French were wise enough to make the Indians think that they are treated as equal partners. Their success in the interior rested on negotiation, not force. However, not all Indian tribes were eager to be partners with the French. During 1712 to 1737, there were numerous clashes between the French and the hostile Fox Indian tribe. The French, even with the help of their Indian allies, could not conquer the Fox. Unlike French, the English colonization was mass, as the bourgeois revolution of the 16th century caused landlessness of the peasantry in England, and they needed new lands. The first English colony, Jamestown in the Chesapeake Bay, was established in 1607 by the Virginia Company, who aimed to find gold there. The Mayflower arrival to the Massachusetts coast in 1620 was the beginning of mass flows of English settlers. Initially, the Indians were rather friendly to the newcomers and allowed them to live on the Indian land, but the English aimed to own the land and to transform the American wilderness into land for cash crops or to recreate an old-world society adjusted to Calvinist ideas. The Powhatan Indian tribes with whom the English first encountered on the new land were angry of the Englishmen' actions and started to fight the oppressors. The English killed and scalped their victims. Moreover, they brought alcohol and epidemic diseases such as smallpox, measles, and cholera to which the Native Americans had no immunity. The Englishmen were the ideologists of Indian reservations. In exchange for peace, they forced the local Indian tribes and other tribes to come under the English rule. To the end of 18th century, the English took over a substantial amount of the French territories in Canada and made the Indians outlaws in their native land. Overall, it can be seen that treatment of the Indians in both New France and New England territories was far from fair and respectful. While the French colonizers focused on the search for new economic opportunities and personal gain, the English ones aimed to exterminate the local population to occupy more and more land. Study Corgi can help you make your studies smarter. Visit studycorgi.com for more samples like this, study tips, and writing tools.